Okay, so I just finished my second watch through of one of my favorite television shows of all time, The Sopranos. I did this in anticipation of the film coming, The Many Saints of Newark. We're going to do the official trailer breakdown. I know this trailer came out June 29th, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't do one for my channel because I was really, really hyped when the trailer came out, and I probably watched it like 5 times within an hour when it did release. But it just got me hype, and I went back and I started The Sopranos over and got to re-experience everything from Junior and Livia conspiring against Tony, you know, Jackie Aprile dying from cancer, and then the basic standoff between Tony and Corrado, aka Junior, for the top seat of the family, and you know, the Meadow and AJ growing up, and Meadow dating Jackie Aprile Jr. and Meadow dating Noah and things like that, and Janice coming back and Janice's relationship with Richie Aprile and Ralphie, and then Bobby Bacala and everything like that. Bar none, The Sopranos is the greatest television show of all time, in my opinion, and I know that I'm not in the minority when I say that. I know a lot of people feel that way. David Chase did a phenomenal job with that show. Also, while The Sopranos was running, a very talented Matthew Weiner was able to direct a few episodes and write a few episodes. And when The Sopranos ended, Matthew Weiner then went on to create another one of my favorite television shows of all time, that being Mad Men. So this is basically just like, you know, this is like a school for writers and directors who all turned out phenomenal content. There is a Sopranos reunion, the 20-year reunion that was in 2019 with principal members of the cast. Obviously not Mr. James Gandolfini, because he passed away, I believe, in 2013. In this film, his son, Michael Gandolfini, will play the role of young Tony Soprano. You're going to see in this trailer that if you're familiar with James Gandolfini, the looks that Michael gives, it's like this really is a young Tony Soprano. It's like it's so uncanny that it's eerie at the same time, but it's phenomenal. And then you get to see some younger guys who played big roles in the series and things like that. And I will be starting and stopping to kind of point out certain things. So let's go ahead and get started, man.
When I was a kid, guys like me were brought up to follow codes.
Hey, jerk off. What'd you say?
If that didn't look like fucking Tony Soprano, I don't know what did. Now, the big question a lot of people are asking is, who is this kid? Some people think it's Silvio Dante. I don't think it's Silvio. We are going to see Silvio in another shot later on. If you know anything about The Sopranos and you paid attention, Silvio always had perfect hair. And the reason for that is because Sil was wearing a toupee. You're going to see Sil balding and have a comb over here later in the trailer. That lets you know that this is not Silvio. You're also going to see this kid with Tony a little later in the trailer. I would be willing to bet my last dollar. Well, maybe not my last dollar, but I believe that this is Artie Bucco, because he ran around with Tony and his crew when he was younger, but the other guys got into the family and Artie became a chef. So I think this is Artie Bucco. I'm almost positive. And the girl here, I want to say that's Carmela Soprano, a young
Antonio Soprano.
I wonder if I can talk to you alone for a moment, Mrs. Soprano. On the basis of the Sanford Binet, he's high IQ.
You can't prove it by me. He's got a D+ average.
Now, if we scroll back just a little bit here, this is Holston's, I believe. I'm trying to see what it says there on that box that's up on that counter. I believe this is Holston's. If you remember, Holston's is actually the place where the last scene of The Sopranos took place. That episode aired June 10th, 2007. That was my 25th birthday. This is where it just, you know, the door opens. Tony looks up at either Meadow or what some believe to be a hitman coming in. And a lot of people believe that Tony was shot at that time. I'm pretty sure this is Holston's, but I could be 100% wrong. A lot of people do think it's that as well, so I'm not in the minority there. But we're going to go back.
He's got a D+ average.
Well, he doesn't apply himself, but he is smart. The results tell us. He's a leader.
Now, there was a time where Tony was having a conversation with John Sacramone, aka Johnny Sack, who was the head of one of the New York families, the Lupertazzi family to be exact, out of New York. And John said something, and Tony's retort was, "I got 38 IQ or something like that, 126." We do know that Tony Blundetto, Tony's cousin and also Christopher's cousin, and that whole family thing is a weird thing because Tony calls Christopher his nephew in the show, but he's really not his nephew. Dickie Moltisanti is not Tony's uncle. Christopher and the Moltisantis are actually related to Carmela, but Tony's cousin, Tony Blundetto, aka Tony B, that would have been Tony Uncle Al, and then Tony Soprano would have been Tony Uncle Johnny. They are cousins, and Christopher's also his cousin. So I don't know how they explain that, or it's like somebody's a second cousin or a third cousin or something like that. Other than to say they basically wanted to keep it all in the family. But yeah, this is really strange because we know Tony, basically Dickie was Tony's mentor, but he also called him Uncle Dick, and he calls Christopher his nephew, and they're technically not really related. But Christopher is related to Carmela, so I don't know. Here's Dickie Moltisanti.
Uncle Dick.
Satriali's
Growing up with the family takes a toll.
Maybe an ambassador to England or France.
You're my nephew.
My life is Campbell.
I want to do
That's
whatever I
Sylvia.
can to help you.
Maybe
I want to do whatever I can to help you.
Campbell.
I want to do.
This guy right here, this is Silvio Dante. Apparently this is young Silvio. As you can see, as I stated, he's got the comb over. He's already going bald. Silvio was Tony's consigliere when he was the top guy in the family. Consigliere, in the Costa Nostra, aka the Mafia, is your most trusted advisor, your counselor. So you see Silvio started out, he's counting up money, which means he started out low and worked his way up in the family. Silvio in the Sopranos show was played by Steve Van Zandt, who is most famously known as being in Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band. His wife actually plays his wife in real life plays his wife in the television show as well. So that was really, really cool. But yeah, this is Silvio. So the guy we saw earlier that Tony was fighting with, I kind of feel like that's Artie Bucco. To me, it just makes all the sense in the world for that to be Artie Bucco.
I want to do whatever I can to help you. My gift to you.
And then if I take it back just a second here. So, if you can see from the finger pointing, you got the pinky finger down there and you got the pointer finger up there. No need to ask who that is. That's Paulie Walnuts, aka Paulie Gualtieri. He was basically like Tony's uncle. He worked for Tony's dad, Johnny Boy Soprano, and worked with Junior as well. And then the guy sitting next to him in the passenger seat, if you just look at him, you can tell that's Big Pussy. Obviously, that's Big Pussy Pompancero. Everybody was so upset when Pussy got killed at the end of season 2. And even I read some interviews where the cast said that they were absolutely livid when they found out that that Vincent Pastore, aka Big Pussy, was being killed off. They were really, really upset. He did appear in a couple of other episodes later on and things like that. Most notably, there's one episode where it was Christmas and they were looking for the Santa suit, and they said that Pussy was probably the best Santa Claus they ever had. So it's going to be really cool to see, a younger Pussy and a younger Paulie Walnuts. And just like the finger point that Paulie's doing, absolutely iconic. And I'm so glad that they put this in the trailer. I'm glad that we get to see these guys on the come up. And this is around the time where Pussy's a cat burglar. A lot of people were like, why did he have the name Big Pussy? There was a smaller guy who went by Pussy as well. And then there was this guy who, went by Big Pussy. The thing is, he was a cat burglar. And, obviously cat burglar, cat pussy. So that's that whole thing. So this, again, is Big Pussy Pompancero and Paulie Walnuts, a.k.a. Paulie Gualtieri. Paulie is the only one. Actually, Patsy survived, still ended up in a coma. Pussy got killed in season 2, I think, and we don't know what happened to Tony at the very end of the show. We do know that Paulie's alive.
I want to go to college. I can't get caught with shit like this.
Look, you take the speakers, right? At the same time, you say to yourself, "This is the last time I'm ever gonna steal something." It's that simple.
Let me go talk to him.
He only listens to Dickie.
Okay, so we're gonna take it back a bit here. Now, of course, this right here would be Johnny Boy Soprano. This is Tony's dad, and this would be Corrado Soprano Jr., aka Uncle June. John Bernal is going to play Johnny Boy Soprano, and obviously we saw who Livia is going to be played by. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. She's a phenomenal actress. She was in The Departed, which is one of my favorite films. She plays Matt Damon's love interest in the film, and she also was Leonardo DiCaprio's psychiatrist in the film, and she had a sexual situation with Leo as well in the film. And John Bernal obviously playing Johnny Boy Soprano. John played in the Netflix version of The Punisher. He was Frank Castle in that, so that's really cool. Corey Stoll is playing young Junior Soprano. It's dope because if you look, he's got the iconic Junior eyeglasses on. We see that he's already bald, and we're gonna get to see Junior young, like Johnny and Junior, and seeing a young Livia. It would be cool if we had the Beehive shootout where Janice tells the story in Soprano Home Movies, which is the first episode of season 6, part B, where it's Tony's birthday and he and Carmela go to Janice and Bobby Bacala's lake house, and they're all drinking and playing Monopoly, and Janice tells the story that Livia and Johnny were out with Junior and his Gumar obviously being your mistress, and something happened where Johnny Boy fired a shot and it went right through Livia's hair. She had a beehive hairdo, kind of like Lisa Marie, not Lisa Marie, what is Elvis's wife's name? It doesn't matter. Elvis's old lady used to wear a beehive, so I guess that's where Livia got it from. So I wonder if we'll see that. That would be really fucking cool. I also wonder who they cast to be young Janice. And if Tony's in high school at this point, Barbara's around as well. So we're going to see Janice. Well, actually, Janice ran off as soon as she was old enough. And she's older than Tony. Janice is the oldest, Tony's the middle child, and Barbara's the younger. So maybe we don't see Janice in this film. That would be actually very interesting. But I do expect to at least see Barbara. So I don't know. We'll see. But again, this is Johnny Boy Soprano, and that's Junior Soprano driving the car. This is Tony's dad and his uncle.
Let me go talk to him.
He only listens to Dickie.
Gotta do something.
Okay, now this scene is a depiction of the Newark riots. This was the late 60s. I don't remember exactly what year, but there were race riots in Newark. There was, I think I don't know if he was the mayor, I can't remember. There was basically a campaign called Keep Newark White. They didn't want black people in the neighborhood and things like that. If you go to Newark today, that's definitely not the case. It's, they call it Brick City for a reason. Jersey is like, it's called the Garden State, but Jersey is like definitely fucking hood, especially if you go around the Newark area. So, yeah, this is a depiction of the race riots from the late 60s.
About Dickie Moltisanti.
Maybe some of the things you do aren't God's favorite.
Okay, so again, you have Tony and you have this guy next to him. Again, I think it's Artie Bucco. It could be Jackie Aprile. Maybe it could be Ralphie. I don't know. Ralphie told Jackie Jr. the story that the way that they kind of got on was he, himself, Jackie's father, and Tony robbed a card game. They didn't shoot anybody, but the family took notice, and that's how they got down with the family, and then they worked their way up. I feel like it's Artie Bucco. I could be wrong. But for them to be fighting in the street, I don't know if it's Jackie Aprile. I could be wrong on that too. I would imagine Ralphie had red hair, so I would imagine this is either Artie Bucco or Jackie Aprile Sr. I don't know. I guess we'll find out on October 1st. And of course, you see the shot of...
By example, you lead by example. We'll make the right decision. This kid's.
Oh God, I went back to
aren't God's favorite.
that, of course, is the legendary Ray Liotta, most famously known for playing the role of Henry Hill in Goodfellas, which is one of my top 10 films of all time. I didn't know anything about the mafia before I saw Goodfellas, and then subsequently saw The Godfather and The Godfather 2 and 3, which is not worth watching. But Ray Liotta, phenomenal actor, has done so much more, so much more in his career, but his defining role is Henry Hill in The Goodfellas. In this film, he actually plays Hollywood Dick Moltisanti. That would be Dickie's father and Christopher Moltisanti's grandfather. This is basically the story of Dickie Moltisanti. I don't know if it ends with his death. Christopher is older than AJ and Meadow and all those kids and Jackie Jr., but he's younger than Tony. So if Dickie dies at the end of this film, we have to see baby Christopher. Christopher was a baby when Dickie was killed. But this is Hollywood Dick Moltisanti, so this would be Christopher's paternal grandfather.
You lead by example.
Of course,
You make the
Boy
right
again.
decision. This kid's got what it takes.
Now this shot of the crew, that's Tony in the Letterman jacket. I would imagine here we're seeing Silvio's a bit older, and so is Paulie and Pussy. Those guys have been around long enough that they worked for Tony's dad. They worked for Johnny Boy Soprano and Worth Jr. and so on and so forth. So I would imagine we're looking at Tony, Jackie Aprile Sr., Ralphie, Artie Bucco. Yeah, that I don't. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a fourth in there somewhere, so I don't know who the fourth would be. It's interesting. Jackie Aprile, Ralphie, Artie Bucco. I'm not sure who the fourth would be, but it's interesting. I want to see who this little crew is gonna be. If the fourth guy is just some guy who happened to be around and who actually plays no part later on in the television show, but this looks like this is the making of the little crew. It would be interesting if they show them robbing the card game. That would be interesting. We do know that Tony graduated high school because he did do at least a semester in college. But obviously he then joined the family and married Carmela. And, he and Carmela married pretty young. I want to say like 19 or something like that. Because, when Meadow was going to get married to Finn DiTrolio, they felt she was too young. And Tony stated, we were that age when we got together. So, I don't know. This should be interesting.
As far as your nephew goes,
I'm listening.
Again, Ray Liotta, Hollywood Dick Moltisanti.
stay out of his life.
And then the Sopranos theme song comes in. And I got Jesus Christ. So it says only in cinemas. This is from the Warner Brothers UK YouTube channel. I don't know how I stumbled upon that, but it is. You can see the HBO logo right there at the bottom. This is going to be on HBO Max as well as in theaters on October 1st. The way things are trending, it seems that we're headed for another shutdown. So I know for sure I'll be watching this on HBO Max. Even if we're not shut down again, I probably was not going to the fucking theater. I'm going to watch it on HBO Max. But I'm really fucking psyched for this film. And then this part, I want to show you Many Saints of Newark, obviously a Soprano story. Now, the translation of Many Saints to Italian would actually be Moltisanti. So that tells me that this is the story of Dickie Moltisanti and what happened to him. Again, like I said, if Dickie ends up getting killed at the end of this, we have to at least acknowledge the fact that Christopher exists, because Christopher was an infant when Dickie was killed. Maybe a year old. I'm not sure. I'd have to actually go back and check. But yeah, Christopher would have had to have been born by this time. So yeah, that's the trailer. I just wanted to do this because, again, I finished my second watch through of Sopranos. It is still definitively the greatest television show of all time, in my opinion. I don't think there's anything else that's even close. But yeah, I just cannot wait for this fucking film. It looks fantastic. Michael Gandolfini looks just like his father, and when I think of incredible scenes where Tony, his nostrils flared and you could see the anger in his face, that shot where he says to the kid, what did you say to me, and all that stuff, and these other shots within the trailer, he's a spitting image of James's father, and he just looks like what a young Tony Soprano should look like. So again, I'm fucking stoked to see this film. I cannot wait. It's still early August. I cannot wait till October 1st. Don't talk to me on the 1st of October, because this is what I will be doing, and I'm probably going to watch it multiple times, and I'm going to have a review of the film. One thing, I kind of started thinking about this the other day. It would be interesting if they showed us what actually happened to Tony and Carmela and AJ in the diner. I know, again, James Gandolfini unfortunately passed away, I think, in 2013. But it'd be interesting if they added a post-credit scene where, you know, obviously Jamie Lynn Sigler still alive, Robert Eiler and Edie Falco, who played Carmela, Meadow, and AJ Soprano. You know, it'd be interesting if you saw them standing in a cemetery as a casket was being lowered into the ground, and then we would automatically assume that was Tony and that he did get killed. Or maybe David Chase just says, fuck it, I'm not going to explain to you guys what happened when the screen went black. You know, if you remember, like I said, this is June 10th, 2007, my 25th birthday. Everybody thought that their cable went out because the screen just went black, and people started calling their cable and satellite providers like, yo, my cable went out, I was watching Sopranos, and they literally had to let people know, no, that's how it ended. And they just kind of left us all on a ride. And people have asked David Chase, you know, since the end, what happened to Tony, and he said he's neither dead nor alive, and that's like really fucked up on David Chase's part to kind of leave us all hanging. So I kind of hope that maybe he cleans everything up with this film and we find out what actually happened to Tony Soprano. But that's all the time I got for you guys today. Just wanted to do this as part of the rewatch. Obviously, the first episode of the rewatch centers on Mad Men, and that's a audio-only podcast. This one I tried to do something a little different because we're coming up on the release date for this film, and this is the reason I went back and started watching The Sopranos over. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, as always, my name is Derek Lamont Jackson, and you guys have yourself a great day. Peace out.